CBS Sports Network is presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. SEC travels to the Mountain West. We've got Vanderbilt and Colorado State. Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Waltz, along with Corey Chavis, former Vanderbilt Commodore standout and a longtime NFLer. Jenny Dell will join us shortly. Been a great day of college football and evening. Late night here at the foot of the Rockies. And across the game and across the sport, we have seen a lot of solemn and stirring remembrances of 9/11.
And nothing I remember more than our president at the time, George Bush, throwing out that perfect pitch right after 9/11, and that let everybody know our country was moving on.
Well, in this matchup, we've got two teams who just want to forget about last week and are angry about it. Steve Addazio here at Colorado State is trying to put his personality imprinted on this team. He's got the right guy at tight end, Trey McBride.
Well, he's a personality changer for your program. He was already here when Addazio arrived, but one thing you know is he will arrive every Saturday afternoon, every Saturday night with outstanding, I just think, feel for the game. McBride is a player scouts love, Rich.
Now, Vanderbilt is trying to build it from the very bottom. They got beat last week. Clark Lee is the guy. He was a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, and he's got two really good defenders, Davian Davis and Anthony Orji.
Well, Davis is quick, but he has to play well at the point of attack tonight, and their coaches believe he can do just that as a team captain. Orji, his mental capability tonight, big for this defense.
Not often SEC comes this way, or even Vandy. Jenny Dell, here they are at elevation.
That's right. Colorado State has the fourth highest elevation of any FBS school at 5,003 feet. And I can tell you from just walking around here that playing here is no easy task, especially for a team like Vanderbilt that isn't used to playing in elevation. I spoke with Coach Lee, who said because of this late kick, he made sure that the team exposure was limited today. He also changed around the intensity of their pregame practice, but overall, he said he's not too concerned. Guys, there will be oxygen on the sidelines. Coach also told me that in week one, they didn't do a very good job of rotating players, so that's going to be imperative. And guys, it's been 42 years since Vanderbilt played in this type of elevation, so they lost to Air Force twice in the 1970s, and here we go.
Well, here we go. Steve Addazio, this is year two, but last year was not a good one. Of course, they had 8 games scheduled, and they had 4 games canceled. That one is through the end zone. And so Colorado State wearing orange. They do it once a year. And this is a throwback to the days when they were Colorado A&M and Ag Day here on the Fort Collins campus. Todd Centeio, the senior quarterback, and he comes on for another start. Hey, we got someone in our ears.
Centeio is a player, I think, Rich, that has to match his performance from a week ago.
1st and 10 from the 25. Play action. Centeio. Little toss there. This is McBride. Boy, that didn't take long before they got the ball to their fine tight end. And McBride out to the 46-yard line.
It's their bootleg action. They're going to fake the run to Bailey, and there it is, McBride. It's off a run fake, and that's why he's so wide open.
21 yards on that pickup. Centeio can move and he can throw. They'd like to be able to do this, and that's run it. And David Bailey, the transfer from Boston College, bursts into Vandy territory. Deshaun Jerkins made the stop, 13 yards.
He's running behind the right side. It's actually McBride, and then he gets a really good block from number 16, Cam Butler.
David Bailey in the backfield. Again, this time left side, another big hole, and that's got to be a concern for Vanderbilt. This offensive line did not have a great game last week, but right now they're opening some holes. We told you about Trey McBride. Dante Wright, number 22, is another guy to watch for on this offense.
He really is, and his ability to be able to do a number of different things is something that Vanderbilt knows they have to match up with.
Ball at the 34. Centeio play action. Lots of time. Fires. Middle shot. Caught there. That's McBride. Out of bounds. At the 7. 27 yards.
It's one of their base plays, and what they do is use right to run off the defense, and then they run a crossing route, and they match up McBride with Orji. And this is one of the plays they had a lot of success with a week ago, and they come right back to it early on this first drive as Vanderbilt struggling to get off the field.
Bailey in the backfield. He'll get it, and he's hit immediately. He escapes that first hit by Christian James of Vanderbilt, and there's a flag down. There's a look at James as they'll rotate Jesse Minter's defense for Vanderbilt. They will rotate up front.
Illegal substitution. Defense, 12 players in the formation. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Correction, half the distance to the goal. Remains first down.
Well, in week 2, you want to stay away from stuff like this.
Well, you got a number of different guys out here on the field. We had a couple of guys running off. You can see 13 right on the field there. They were trying to get some guys off the field as well.
Bailey in the backfield again. Centeo has Bailey open. Touchdown. Colorado State. Opening drive. Impressive. David Bailey, and a sizzling start for Todd Centeo. Extra point, up and good. We told you Trey McBride was good, and Todd Centeo came out and showed you. Colorado State scores first, 7-0. Going 75 yards and 5 plays in 2 minutes will do it for you. And here's the score.
Well, you had 2 tight ends on this side, but then you have the motion come from him, and then you're going to have this tight end go across and the other one come out, and now the running back goes this way. So you're stressing the eye discipline. Everybody's going to their offensive left, and then you have simply Bailey going to the flats at number 33 in that case. The Ricky Wright gets fooled. So when you stress the eye discipline, it's important for players to play their assignment, and that's the details of the assignment that these coaches talk about week to week.
Caden Camper with a kick. This is Patrick Smith, and he catches it and falls over. And that's going to cost Vandy some yardage. They'll mark it at the 7. And now Vanderbilt will try to erase the memory of last week. There is a flag down as we look at Ken Seals, sophomore quarterback. In an 0-8 season, he was one of the bright spots last year. As a freshman record, he threw for 319 in a matchup against Florida. And here comes the call from James Carter.
Holding. Receiving team, number 36. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
So not only did they get a short return, but also a hold. And Clark Lee is hoping that Ken Seals can get this offense rolling.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the starter. And in terms of, we saw a little bit of a 2-quarterback rotation. We asked him about that this week, in fact, Rich. But he says Seals is the starter, and he has a pretty good relief pitcher when they go to number 5, Mike Wright.
And Mike Wright's got a great fastball in terms of speed.
Yes, he does.
He is ultra quick. So this is Seals, who had some, as I noted, some bright moments last year in what was a very dismal year for Vanderbilt. And Raymond Davis gets the carry, and Davis is upended. He gets out to about the 7-yard line. Henry Blackburn made the stop. This is a defense led by Chuck Heater, the venerable defensive coordinator. They weren't happy they gave up 466 yards. They're more talented than that. Manny Jones, Scott Patchen up front, Cameron Carter in the middle.
Yeah, they really are, and I think a lot of it was just assignments. We talked about assignments a minute ago. They were out of some gaps and gave up some uncharacteristically big runs.
Seals will pull it, tuck it, and pay the price. Daquan Jackson, the first hit. And so it's going to be a 3rd down and about 4.
They're going to have Scott Patchen over here, #1. He's going to come down inside, and when they make the mistake, Patchen comes back and forces the play to go inside. You know, Patchen's one of their team captain and probably one of their better overall football players week to week.
3rd down 4. Vanderbilt's first possession inside the 10. Seals has time. Sideline shot, almost caught in and out of the hands of Will Shepard. And it's 3 and out for the Commodores.
That was a pretty good throw that time, I thought, by Ken Seals. And when you get the one-on-one matchups, you see he identifies it, and then he makes a decent throw. And this goes a little bit off the outstretched fingertips of Shepard, who actually had a little bit of a step that time, I thought, on Marshawn Cameron.
Harrison Smith, very good punter. In fact, we've got 2 outstanding punters in this game. You see Smith last week, 43 yards per kick. Ryan Stonehouse of Colorado State could end up being one of the best punters in NCAA history before it's all said and done. That's a gorgeous kick. I mean, way back there. Caught, falling over at the 39-yard line was Dante Wright. Colorado State with the ball up 7-0. Corey, we have just started this football game. Colorado State 7-0. They get the football back. Corey Chavis didn't take them long to get into the end zone.
No, it didn't, and it all started with the simple bootleg. They get McBride out, and it's a naked bootleg, and the defensive end is not in position. And Bailey, who didn't get going a week ago, he not only gets going in the run game, but also in the passing game.
All right, let's go down to Jenny Dell, who's right in the middle of it. Jenny?
Yeah, well, the emphasis throughout preseason camp for Colorado State was the pass game. Coach Adazio felt that that was the area that needed the most help. So last week, the Rams ran 89 offensive plays. 49 of them were attempted passes, but the offense, it had no balance. So the practice plan changed this week. Adazio said, you know that 60-40 mix, that's going to shift. We're going to get that run game ready. We're going to have one of the better offenses around. And guys, Adazio said himself that pass first is not his style. He seems ready to revert that run game. We saw it right there. So expect to see a lot of David Bailey carrying the ball tonight. We already saw it in that first play.
Well, Centeio's going back and scrambling. He's got speed, gets to the edge, up the field, out of bounds at the 49-yard line. As you pointed out, Corey Chavis, and you played defense at Vanderbilt, there are athletes on this defense. If you were still in that backfield right now, what adjustments do they have to make to slow this down?
Well, the first thing they've got to do, at least in this game so far, they've got to protect the edges. If you do not have contain against an athletic quarterback, you're setting yourselves up for trouble.
Bailey left side, and yards after contact at midfield, and he ends up at the 42 of Vanderbilt. So we talked about Anthony Orji, and we talked about Davian Davis. What about the defensive backfield? Gabe Judy Lawley and Jalen Mahoney, especially on the corners.
Well, they had some struggles, I think, a week ago. Now, both guys have played significant football. They even have some of their backups like B.J. Anderson, who started games. He even has 9 starts. So they've got some experience, even have Alan George, but they've got to defend the deep ball a little bit better this week.
2nd down and 2. And Bailey inside the 40 has the first down. And now, Corey, your keys to the game. These are Chavis' choice.
Well, locate number 22. We already talked about him, Dante Wright. He's a speed merchant. You can't give up a big play to him down the field. 5 or more explosive plays on offense. They're not going to be able to have 10 and 12 play drives. Negativity for that Colorado State defensive front with tackles for loss. And Ryan Stonehouse and this kickoff unit as well control field position and make Vanderbilt drive the length of the field.
That's the other thing about altitude, Corey, is the kicking game suddenly gains about 5 yards. Little slant, nice throw, and E.J. Scott makes the catch. And Centeio has been impressive. He's thrown from the pocket, he's thrown from the move, and he's been accurate.
He has, and you got to give John Budmeyer some credit. Now, right here, you see nobody in the backfield, and he's throwing from an empty formation, which means nobody's in, no running backs in the game, but the running back is in the game, and they're out wide. And that's one of the things they talked about doing this week, displacing their personnel.
Marcus McElroy in the backfield. 2nd down and 4. Colorado State with the lead and on the move, and McElroy busts in to the 27-yard line. Actually, it was Ajon Vivens with the carry. And Vivens has a first down that moves the chains.
And this time they go to pulling their guards. They also use number 84, Gary Williams, who I thought did a really good job blocking a week ago.
Vivens. Vivens has a little more, I want to say, electricity than David Bailey. I wanted to choose my words carefully there, but I think electricity fits.
I think you're exactly right. He has, when you see him in the game, you know it's a different running back in the game with just his energy. He's a very energetic runner.
You saw the lopsided yardage total. 5 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown on the first possession. Second possession, they're already inside the 25. Centeio again, McBride again, and this time he is dropped. Ethan Barr and Anthony Orji were all over him.
And number 33 that time, DeRicky Wright. You're going to see, here goes McBride. They're doing the same bootleg, but look at the chip by Wright, and then he gets up and gets in the face of Centeio, and there's an excellent tackle by Ethan Barr. Some help that time from Deshaun Jerkins.
Timeout. We'll step aside.
Well, it's a middle tight end screen. So he throws off the blocker. As a blocker, he throws off the defender. And actually that time, there was an opportunity for an interception by Rayshawn Wilkins. Watch number 94 come in. Well, no, the ball already had hit the ground.
Our Red Zone is brought to you tonight by Verizon. Colorado State is in that red zone already for the second time. 2nd and 10. Bailey in the backfield. Trying to bounce it outside. Good pursuit. Nice play by Maxwell Worship coming up from his free safety spot to cut off the outside and force the play in. 3rd down and 9.
Well, when you watch Orji, he's going to come in here, and the thing you've got to make Bailey do is run sideways. If you can make him go sideways, then your players can help out. All of your players can help out, and that's a good job by the eyes of Orji on that play, reading, coming downhill, and making Bailey go sideways. And now 3rd down and 9. Do they bring the pressure we just talked about?
5 receivers, and Vanderbilt showing pressure. Centeio. Play clock expired. He was really frustrated. You could see Centeio screaming at his wide receivers.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
And that's a quarterback penalty to me. So every time you have a delay of game, that's always on the quarterback. Now, there's specific reasons why, like what you just talked about, Rich. He's talking to the wide receiver, but you have to find a way not to give up those 5 yards, particularly when you're in the red zone.
Centeio rolling, firing, and incomplete. He was looking for Dante Wright, and this is going to bring the field goal team on. Caden Camper, the kicker for Steve Adazio. And some of you may say, hey, I thought his name was Adazio. It is Adazio.
They've gotten off to a dazzling start tonight so far. Camper, he hit his first field goal a week ago, and then he missed the next one. But he has a pretty smooth stroke.
And a big leg. You've seen he's hit a 50-yarder. Not this time. Shoots that one wide right. So a nice drive, but a big hold for Vandy. And they keep it at 7-0. Caden Camper. And it's still 7-0. Some great NFL talent has come through Fort Collins, and they've all worn the orange jerseys once a year. It's a throwback to Ag Day when they were Colorado A&M. Now, defense on the field, and let's see if Vanderbilt can move the football. 6.5 minutes left. First quarter. On the ground, Raymond Davis, and he's stuffed by Scott Patchen. And let's go down to Jenny Dell. Jenny?
Yeah, well, 1 week into preseason practice, Coach Lee made a very important decision. He announced that quarterbacks coach Joey Lynch will be calling the plays this season, not the offensive coordinator in David Rye. That decision was about Lynch's experience as OC at Ball State and Colorado State. Coach Lee said, we played Ball State when I was at Notre Dame in 2018, and Lynch gave us fits, but Coach made it clear that the play calling is still very much a collaborative effort. More on this after the play, guys.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Shotgun here. Seals. And that's going nowhere. This defensive front, led by Manny Jones, smothering Davis. Bring up a third down. Jenny?
Yeah, and as I mentioned, Lynch was the OC at Colorado State just last year. Coach Adazio said he knows all of our calls, our signals, our players. Just add that to the pressure of tonight's game. Guys, Adazio told me he wanted Lynch to stay with the Rams, but you know that Vandy SEC money talks.
Well, yeah, it does. What does he dial up here on 3rd down and 10?
Well, I think one of their big 3rd down receivers from a year ago isn't on the field. If you can get another matchup at the top with number 14, Will Shepherd, that might be where you want to go.
There is skill and some explosiveness outside. Blitz, pressure, Seals throw, in traffic, caught but no gain. Davis the catch, and Vanderbilt has to punt again.
Well, their right tackle is having some problems with Scott Patchen. You see, we got a good shot of him there, but Patchen's going to come off the edge, and he really just gets around the combination of that offensive line, and Seals, all he can do is get the ball off. Patchen, he was a productive player at Miami. He played alongside Greg Russo, first-round draft pick, but he's also been productive here, first team All-Mountain West a year ago.
Dante Wright is deep. Harrison Smith had a booming kick, and man, he just skies this one. Ain't altitude great? Oh, and it's touched, and it rolls back into the end zone. Wright's trying to get out of the end zone. He does. Let's see if he can find a lane. He does, and he's all the way back to the 20-yard line. Well, that was an adventure, and another great kick by Harrison Smith. Anxious moments for Dante Wright. Rams with the football and the lead. Downs today and tonight in college football. We remember all of those that gave their lives 20 years ago. I hope you had a chance to see the opening of the Air Force Navy game on CBS. Just incredibly moving sequence to open up what was a very entertaining football game. Air Force out of the Mountain West went into Annapolis and beat Navy. Ajon Vivens busts loose across the 30, out to midfield. Vivens, now that, Corey Chavis, is electricity.
Yeah, you talked about, when you saw him in the game, it was a little different energy. And this time off the right side, he's following behind number 52, Adam Karutz, who makes an excellent block. And that's really what kind of opened it up for him down the field.
This has been a dominant performance by Colorado State offensively. Remember, they missed a field goal with their last possession, scored on their first touch. And Vivens again, the sophomore, and he's a local kid. He's out of Denver. Fort Collins is about an hour north of Denver, right at the foot of the Rocky Mountains. And as Jenny Dell told us at the outset of the telecast, Vanderbilt and SEC teams don't usually come in this direction. Arkansas was here in 2018. Colorado State beat them. Centeo, pump fake, and out of bounds.
I think right now for Vanderbilt, they've kind of just dodged the bullet. The last time they ended up missing the field goal. They drove down the field for the most part. And then defensively, I still don't think they've gotten into a rhythm in terms of being able to understand what fronts they're going to be most comfortable with defending this run game. With this formation right here, you could expect them to go to the left side.
About 5 yards for a first down and 5 yards from a field goal target line. Centeo threads the needle, and that went through the arms of Cam Butler. And that's an incomplete pass. Now the question is, do you go for it on 4th down? Now remember, Steve Adazio, here's the throw. Maybe it was tipped. Nope.
No, that was off the hands of Butler, and it was a pretty good throw that time by Centeo. In terms of, you've got him a little bit on the ropes. You do also have one of the better punters. We talked about controlling the field position If you can back them up, they haven't proven they could make it first down.
Now Stonehouse, this is end over end, and it lands and bounces over the pursuit. And so Vanderbilt will at least get back away from their goal line. It's a 40-yard punt. Competition heats up in the Carolinas in the NWSL. Two of the top teams, the Thorns and the Courage, tomorrow, 3 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Rich Waltz, Corey Chavis, Jenny Dell. You see Joey Lynch in the middle of that. So here's a question for you, former Vanderbilt Commodore. Whether you're Clark Lee or David Rye or Joey Lynch, what do you want this offense to be? What are they trying to install and instill offensively?
Well, it's an NFL-style scheme. I mean, you got to remember David Rye was the wide receivers coach for the Arizona Cardinals. We'll get into it more after this play, but
a little pitch on his way around, and that's Body. And Body's going to get to the 21-yard line, maybe a gain of 2.
But I think when I watched them so far this season, we only got one game to parcel through. You can see that they want to do some, they want to spread you out with 3 wide receivers. They wanted to use their tight end both in line and flex him out a little bit. They tried to establish the run. They want to be an inside run team, and they're not running a lot of perimeter run plays. And they can mix in a little bit of play action, and Boot Wright comes in for more of the changeup.
Second down and 8. Body again in motion. Seals to throw with time over the middle, nobody open, and it's incomplete. How long does it take to install and then perform with that type of offense?
Well, I think it takes a while if you can't get comfortable with the offensive line in terms of the quarterback play. And they weren't comfortable a week ago. You see Seals is still trying to, he's really having a problem with as much time as he's gotten in some of these plays tonight, even with maybe figuring out where he wants to go. I think Chris Pierce, number 19, though, along with number 7, Cam Johnson, they got to get those guys involved on these types of downs, third down, too reliant on Shepard a week ago.
Yeah, Johnson had some huge games last year in the SEC, and that is just enough for a first down. Devin Body Jr. out of Memphis makes the catch. It's a good route to get to the sticks and beyond.
Well, it's right here. You're going to see him come up and curl up. And Body really played well in the 4th quarter a week ago. Watch the quickness out of the route, Rich. And he kind of slips, actually, that time and almost fell down. So it was an anticipatory throw by Seals. Luckily, he stayed on his feet, or that could have been an interception. So they don't want to have any mistakes like that.
First down for Vanderbilt. And back on the ground, this is Rocco Griffin. And this front, and that was Toby McBride. He is the brother of Trey McBride. And he's been injured. That's Toby. They're both out of Fort Morgan from a big, active family.
Yeah, he's right here off the edge. He's played a little bit on the defensive end and inside at defensive tackle. Watch him close down the line of scrimmage. When you watch him a year ago, they play him a little bit inside. Sometimes he'll play over the tackle. He's got good quickness, and he's also a guy that's pretty strong in the upper body.
Seals going to keep nothing. McBride again. And this is going to be third down and long.
You got to make quicker decisions if you're Seals in the pocket. Right now, you had a little bit of a bust that time with the running back, and you thought maybe he was going to be in for the play fake. He wasn't. You got to take off now. I mean, sometimes you got to correct the mistakes of your offense. Certainly.
Well, 1 quarter in the book. Colorado State moved the football at will, it seemed. They have just the 7 points. Joey Lynch in the Commodores offense trying to get it in gear. Faced with a long third down. The SEC comes to the Mountain West. Vanderbilt, Colorado State, 7-0 after 1. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper Fansville cam. This is a great tailgate stadium. This stadium, which is almost brand new, built in 2017, is right in the middle of the campus in Fort Collins, which is a great college town. And they were lining up to get in here, get their barbecues going. and get inside. They want to see if the Rams could bounce back from last week. Vanderbilt trying to do the same. Faced with a long third down now. Vandy at their own 30. Third down and about 12. Seals in the pocket again is dumped. Ball's loose. Who's got it? Colorado State. Scott Patchen with the football.
You can see the pressure from his left side, actually, and it comes from number 15, Brandon Hickerson-Rooks. And then that's what enables them to get the sack on the other side. And Patchen in the right place at the right time. That caused him to step up. And then you got the sack for number 42, Muhammad Kamara. And that was an excellent play by him. He's a player that I think has tremendous upside. He's very long. They move him around a lot on their defense. And he's also good on their special teams unit. But right now, that defensive line is really just outmatching the Vanderbilt offensive line. They're not giving Seals a chance to even get balls off.
And great field position, obviously. 27-yard line of Vanderbilt. Centeo play action. And it's incomplete. That was McBride. He wanted a flag. Chase Lloyd on the coverage. And an excellent play by Lloyd.
And Lloyd covered a little bit. He's from Westlake High School in Georgia, and he actually was a receiver in high school. And he gets there a little bit early maybe, but the officials letting him play. And when you're 250 pounds, they're going to make sure that you earn that contact.
Sort of the Shaq rules is what you're saying?
He's boxing out everybody.
Bailey. Boy, Bailey. And he was a good player at Boston College as well.
He was, man.
2019, he ran for almost 850 yards.
Yeah, and he was running with A.J. Dillon, who was their other lead back then. And you almost looked at him as the changeup you were talking about earlier with A. John Vivens. He was kind of that changeup at Boston College. I've been waiting to see him look like that again. Tonight looks like the first glimpse.
It's a 3rd down and 3. And a big hole. Bailey is through and in for the touchdown. 20 yards. Defense leads the offense. The Kamara sack and strip. The Patchen recovery. And now Bailey, a 20-yard touchdown run.
Well, Kamara makes the strip, and then Patchen, he says, guess what? I'm going to give you an opportunity, Bailey, to go in. And he finishes for the score.
A quarterback on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Corey Chavis, what happened on this touchdown?
Well, it's about double teams. Double teams. You get double teams from both of these guys right here. Your center and your guard and your guard and your tackle. And now the running back has to show that he has the vision to work off of those double teams. Look at both number 94, Rashawn Wilkins, and number 9, Davion Davis. They get moved out of the way. An excellent job by Elijah Johnson finishing off that block on Davis.
Kicked through the end zone. Now, obviously, it was Seals, the starter last year as a true freshman. Last week, 20 of 35, 195 yards. And Davis busts loose. Ramon Davis across the 35. And it's good to see Vandy's offense with a positive run. 15 yards on the carry.
Or he's inside, and you're going to end up seeing another double team right here. You're going to get a block, that time for number 65, Michael Warden. Good play.
And a high throw, and it's through the hands of Amir Abdur-Rahman. 2nd down, 10.
Now, that's a guy that they have to get involved. I think he's one of their better athletes on the football team. 6'4", 215 pounds. He excelled last week on special teams. Now, let's look at the location of this throw. A little bit high, but he had to get it over the top of number 11, Henry Blackburn. So that was the only place he could put it. Abdul-Rahman would have needed to come down with a spectacular catch to make that one.
2nd down and 10 from this offensive line by time. Or can they open a hole for Davis? And Raymond Davis out to the 42, 7-yard gain, 3rd down and about 3. Vanderbilt has 2 first downs on the night. Davis on a pitch, cuts through, has the first down across midfield and inside the 45 to the 43. Thomas Panunzio makes the stop, 14 yards for Vandy.
And you got to wonder when this running game, they were going to attempt to go to it. You get outside and you see him making a couple of people miss. Now, Davis had incredible success at Temple. Looked okay a week ago, but they've lost a lot of backs, Rich. They lost Jamari Wakefield. They lost Javion Marlowe. They also lost another guy, Keon Henry Brooks. So they're depending on Davis to be the bell cow in that backfield.
Rocco Griffin in the backfield now. Seals fakes the pitch, pays the price. Manny Jones there to meet him. Here's Manny Jones out of Cartersville, Georgia.
And Jones shows good discipline on this play. Surprised he wasn't mentioned as one of the NFL prospects. I'm a big fan of his chances at the next level. Not at defensive tackle, maybe a little bit on the edge as a left defensive end, but a very productive player for this Rams defense for the better part of 3 seasons.
2nd down and 11. Griffin. It's a heck of a play. That's the 3rd play we've seen Toby McBride make.
Here's McBride. He's on the edge. He's working against Tyler Steen and just throws him down. He throws down their best offensive lineman, and he does it easily. And that's what you saw from him a year ago, particularly when you watch. Injuries have been an issue. He had the back injury in 2018. He had some other injuries that have kind of carried over or lingered over. When healthy, he's another McBride who gets it done.
Another in a long line of McBrides. Seals, blitz comes, throws into that blitz. Caught by Body, close to the 1st down. Inside the 40 to the 38. If you're Vandy, you're moving the football. You going for it here on 4th down?
Well, I wouldn't huddle. I would have went with a no huddle on that time right there. Maybe pick up the pace and go right. Because you can only go really speed up the pace with a successful play. That was a successful play. Now the huddle, they want to get it right. But I thought that Colorado State was a little off balance. You see them taking some players off the field now. I still want the pace to pick up from Seals to really get some more urgency going with this offense.
Got to get to the 34. Flag down and a legal procedure against Vanderbilt.
Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty.
And it's Cam Johnson on the outside.
Well, there's Johnson right there, number 7. Let me see if he moves. I don't really see him move, but that was actually number 70.
Yes.
They called that wrong. That was Bradley Ashmore, so it was not number 7, Cam Johnson. It was number 70, Bradley Ashmore. And you take your chance. If you want to try to win a game on the road and you give up that false start, you're kind of taking the opportunities away to chip in to the confidence level of their defense. Very poor penalty in a critical moment.
The star for Vandy so far has been this punter, Harrison Smith. And that one lands at the 10 and is downed at the 9. Colorado State with a 2-touchdown lead at home in Fort Collins.
A Premier. Lower carbs, lower calories. Make it Premier. And by Coyote Tractors.
Corey Chavis, 4-year starter at corner for Vandy, 12 career interceptions. And 97 consensus first team all SEC, long NFL career, a Pro Bowl appearance as well. And you dress up nicely too. and one of the great,
maybe not quite as nice as that.
One of the great draft experts in the game. What do you see so far in this ball game? And let's start with this offense. On a spin, Centeo gets rid of it, and this is going to cut loose for a nice gain. David Bailey with the carry. after the catch to the 30-yard line. That's a 21-yard pickup.
Well, these plays, that was similar to the touchdown, right? Get him on the edge. They talked about Bailey having outstanding hands. You see him make one player miss, and really on the edge, he also makes Davis miss down the field. This is the most energy we've seen from Bailey, really, to me, in a couple of years. Even last year at Boston College, I didn't see him play with the energy we're seeing from him tonight. This is an impressive performance by him.
Ajon Vivens in there now. Bailey a little bit of thunder, and Vivens a little bit of lightning. And they've been a good combination here. Colorado State looks nothing like the team last week that lost to South Dakota State. And I know South Dakota State is in the FCS, but if you ask Steve Addazio and anybody else that follows college football, that is a really good team that played in the national championship game this spring. Out of the backfield, Dante Wright in space. Deshaun Jerkins makes the stop. That's another first down out to the 47, 15 yards.
Well, again, they go back to a little bit of the bootleg action, and this time Orji, he doesn't keep contained. And then Jerkins is just okay in pursuit right there. But you make a great point. Chris Oladokin, the quarterback for South Dakota State, a transfer. He played at South Florida. And then you look at even their running back, Pierre Strong. They've got a number of defenders, Michael Griffin II on that South Dakota State defense. They got a lot of NFL players on that team.
Centeio going to tuck it. He's got speed, and he's got a lane. He's to the 20. Centeio, huge gain. And Colorado State approaches the red zone, 33 yards.
Well, it's just an example of him, once he sees everything is taken away, making a good decision. And you have to be decisive in those moments. A couple times we've seen Seals hesitate. Orji barely trips up Centeio, might have been 6.
Last week he threw for 304 yards. He was not the problem last week.
Right, not at all. I thought his decision-making was excellent in the video that I saw, particularly on third downs.
Right in motion. Centeio rolling, tossing. Oh, just out of the reach of McBride, who ends up face first out of bounds. Deshaun Jerkins, the coverage.
Now, you're going to see this route right here. They got McCoy running the crossing route, and then also McBride. You can see Jerkins having problems staying with him. Go back to Jenny Dale's report earlier about the altitude. These types of long drives wear down a defense. She asked me what I run out here when I came out. I used to train in Denver. The altitude does take some getting used to for me, particularly on these drives that go this long.
Second down and 10. And this time coming up was Maxwell Worship from his free safety spot. Guy who made 6 starts last year, Coral Springs, Florida. And a good hit there.
Yeah, Maxwell Worship. He comes from Cardinal Gibbons High School. There he is off the edge. And watch how he flattens down the edge. He had 8 tackles last year against Ole Miss and making plays just like that.
You were never a Bronco, but you still trained here in Denver?
Yeah, I trained in Denver because I would train in New Orleans as well to go from that humidity and come up here and get some of that. I even trained over at the University of Colorado, some of their team.
Centeio trying to pick his way through, and he can't escape Davian Davis.
Okay, now that was an excellent stop by the Vanderbilt defense. We talked about them potentially getting tired. They've shown some heart here in the first half. You can see Davis, he's the line right here. You get him one-on-one. Now they move him to the defensive end. He's in at defensive tackle most of the game. Works off of a block, disengages, and he forces this field goal attempt by Camper, a 41-yarder.
Now remember, he missed earlier from 39. Flags down before the kick was off.
And that might be against Colorado State.
False start. Offense, number 69, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
This is one of the higher altitudes in college football that you'll find, so 5 yards, for the most part, doesn't worry a kicker.
It's over here on that side, and you get the false start that time by Barry Wesley, their veteran, who's moved to the right side, played some at the left tackle position as well. Keith Williams getting some playing time, number 77.
All right, this is 46 yards now.
Look at his leg strength on this attempt.
He pushed it, No good. Camper has missed 2. Colorado State still has the lead. Vanderbilt looking for any scrap of momentum they can find. And maybe this is a start.
Fansville is back, and everything has changed.
College athlete.
14-0 Colorado State. It's time for tonight's Corona Premier Player Profile, and we're going to highlight a Ram, Marshawn Cameron. He started skateboarding at 5 years old, and by the time he was 13, he was one of the top skateboarders in the country, even winning an international competition in LA. He still has a scar above his right eye from when he fell off a roof attempting a trick when he was first learning to skate. And while he was skateboarding, he realized he was also pretty good at football, too. He's been through his fair share of injuries on the field, starting college football in fall of 2015. He's a 7-year rostered player coming off of surgery this spring. His first day of full practice was actually last week, but he's ready to give it his all. He said recently, tweeting out, "Look at every problem as an opportunity to improve. That's when you start winning." And guys, he still skateboards, occasionally putting out videos on social, but he's not trying those dangerous tricks anymore.
I don't think his head coach has seen any of those videos, actually. And that's probably a good thing, as Bama Mina makes the stop. Here's a look at when he was a youngster. How cool is that?
And that's athleticism. You talk about balance. And then listen, let's take a look at the cleats. Oh, I was going to try to circle that. We've been circling everything else. The cleats on the skateboard, that's tremendous balance. And Cameron, a pretty good football player as well.
Let's see if Vanderbilt can build on their last possession, because for the first time all night, they moved the football. Raymond Davis is the feature back. Vandy's gone punt, punt, fumble, punt. And this is their 5th possession. And that's Davis. It's a pitch out to Cam Johnson. And Johnson is across the 40, knocked out of bounds, and he's got the first down.
That was pretty creative.
That fooled me for a moment.
Yeah, you end up faking the inside, and then you throw kind of just a little pass in the flats. And then Johnson, who's a punt returner, shows his strength with the stiff arm.
Johnson last year had some big games. 14 catches against Ole Miss, 10 catches, 114 yards against Mississippi State. Last week, 6 catches, right around 50 yards.
He's a 4-star recruit, one of the better recruits they've gotten at that receiver position. He's strong, and he's a very dependable player.
Seals running out of time, sacked, swallowed. Scott Patchen again.
We mentioned Patchen early, and you also had Jones on the other side. Watch how they collapse. And that's called a snatch and pull maneuver on Tyler Steen. And what that does is you get inside the chest of the offensive tackle, and you pull him forward and propel yourself back.
That was a snatch and pull by Patchen once he got a hold of Seals.
Yeah. Oh.
2nd down and 10.
You got that right.
He got that under the radar there. Little screen, Davis. And Davis back to the 38-yard line. He's going to pick up about 8 yards. Patchen in pursuit ran him down.
He's been all over the place, and we talked about earlier about him long-arming offensive linemen. We've seen a little bit of it all from him tonight, and we've also seen that effort that he has in pursuit. 6'6". But now for Vanderbilt, this is a makeable 1st down, 3rd and 11. He's very good, Seals, at throwing corner routes. We haven't seen that much at all. Not a lot of out-breaking route concepts so far. He's trying to set the protection up front right now.
Let's see if Colorado State brings heat. They'll bring 4. Seals flushed, dumps it out. Davis is surrounded and had no chance. There were 3 Rams to meet him. Daquan Jackson, the first of the 3.
Now you got to wonder about the 4th down and 5 here. They're going to go ahead and bring out Harrison Smith, who's just had a spectacular first half. But the gang tackling pursuit of this defense has been impressive. You saw Panunzio come up and make a tackle. You saw him right there get some help from Daquan Jackson. And they forced a number of basically just punts tonight. Vanderbilt unable to get anything going offensively.
Harrison Smith has punts of 78 and 53 yards. He wants some height on this one. Fair catch called for. Wright makes it at the 19-yard line. 3:12 left, first half. Colorado State with the lead. They get the football when we get back. To Navy and wins 23-3. And it's been reported that Navy offensive coordinator Ivan Jasper has been let go as a result. How about Oregon without two of their best defensive, maybe their two best defensive players into the horseshoe, and they stun number 3 Ohio State.
I thought Anthony Brown played outstanding in that game.
Look at this. Iowa State had just a nightmare in the third quarter. It was a flurry of turnovers, a fumble return for a touchdown. And Iowa took advantage and won in Ames. Here in Fort Collins, Rams with the football and the lead. This guy, David Bailey, has been terrific. Bailey on the ground, now over 65 yards, 9 carries. Ethan Barr makes the stop for Vanderbilt.
Well, you got an opportunity with Vanderbilt getting the football first in the second half to maybe just keep this clock, or think about draining this clock the rest of the half. And so the run game has been effective for you. The inside run game, we talked about those double teams that they're having on the defensive tackles of Vanderbilt.
Get him the fuck out.
You heard Jenny Dell talk about the mix of play calling and Steve Adazio and the Rams. What do you think of the mix so far in this first half?
I think it's been very good. I think that what they've done is they've run the ball to set up some of their boot action, and they've gotten Centeio out on the edge. Very good balance. And here he goes right here again.
Centeio, play action. Big hit. Cam Butler the catch. Butler is the understudy to Trey McBride, but he's had a nice career. 50 catches in his career here.
Very athletic player, too. And watch him right here, but watch the tackle by Orji. Watch Orji come up and say, no way, not even Orji. It's Orji along with the corner, Judy Lally. And that stops another potential, and now you got a chance to get the ball back. And guess what? You're finally going to get to see Stonehouse.
You know, we saw Stonehouse, but he wasn't in a position to cut loose. He was just trying to pooch it. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. Vandy's going to get the football back with time on the clock.
And actually, you make a good point on that pooch. It could have gotten down inside the 5.
Yeah. Hey, it's halftime coming up. The Verizon halftime report. All of those stories that we talked about. Brent Stover, Houston Nutt, and Kevin Carter will cover all of that. All the highlights, some big upsets. How about Arkansas?
Yeah, they've got some receiving talent with Burks, Treylon Burks. So you can't be that surprised, but and then defensively, they started off so hot a year ago, Arkansas, that turnovers, if you're turning the ball over at Texas, in that game, they'll make you pay.
Arkansas upsetting Texas today. All right, Stonehouse, his career average is 47 yards per kick. And if that holds this year, that'll be the all-time record in NCAA history. And it's partially blocked. Vandy got a piece of the punt, and it rolls out of bounds. And the Commodores with 1:57 left. Alan George got a piece of it. 1:57 left, and Vandy's got the football in good field position.
It's an excellent job by George taking it off the foot without getting a roughing the kicker or running into the kicker. You're taught to just reach out with your inside arm. As you see, this is perfect technique. He reaches out with his inside arm, and he doesn't dive and force any contact. That is textbook, and you got to be happy if you're Justin Lustig, the special teams coach for Vanderbilt.
Well, maybe this is the big play that Vandy's been looking for. They've got it at the 42. The offense has struggled this half. 74 total yards. 36-yard line is the field goal target line. Obviously, though, Vandy would like to stick it in the end zone before halftime. It's a good throw and catch. Cam Johnson, and a positive play, 8 yards on the game. Daquan Jackson makes the hit, and it's a hurry-up offense for the Commodores.
And what about some inside breaking routes? We haven't seen much of anything inside in the first half other than one play.
Movement. Ben Cox, it looked like, the right guard.
False start. Offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
So second down, and now instead of 3, it's second down and about 8.
And 8 penalties a week ago. Have to eliminate the pre-snap penalties to give yourselves any chance.
Davis in the backfield. Seals is 7 of 11 for 52 yards. Blitz comes, flushed, and fires it out of bounds. Pierce was in the vicinity, 3rd down.
So you've got a little bit of a problem right now in terms of your offensive line matching up with their defensive front. You're going to have to go with something quick, maybe a screen, try to get something. You have to let somebody try to get some yards after the catch. If not, the quick slant. You got to be thinking quick passing game right now if you're Vanderbilt.
3rd down 7. Seals, there's the quick throw and catch. That's Johnson, has the 1st down and is spilled off his feet at the 38-yard line of Colorado State. Clock stops with a 1st down.
Well, here's a quick slant. They have ran a little bit of a line game that time from Colorado State. The defensive end comes inside. Defensive tackle goes outside. Seals gets rid of it before they can get there.
Seals again, this time with time. This time deep and overthrows Shepard. 2nd down and 10, 59 seconds left.
We'll give Rashad Ajayi good credit on this play because he forced him inside. So Seals is expecting the receiver to be outside. He takes an inside release, and now you're not where the ball is thrown. So it's not always the quarterback's fault. A lot of times people don't understand the receiver takes the wrong release because the cornerback forced him to.
You saw Joey Lynch. He was the offensive coordinator at Colorado State last year, calling plays for Vanderbilt as a quarterback coach. Fired to the sideline. It's Johnson again.
That might be a late hit.
And he's out of bounds, and the flags go down.
Johnson, the toughness of Johnson showed up on that play.
Tywan Francis on the sideline.
And I'll be honest, it's tough to gauge where you're at if you're Francis right here. You got to try to pull up. But Francis, he plays so hard.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, they hit out of bounds, number 8 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic 1st down.
It's a big penalty, Rich, but I tell you what, Francis, he's a guy, he gets me excited. You want to talk about I get a little giddy when I'm up here. Wham! I mean, I just love the contact. He has an affinity for contact. You have to have that as a safety. You got to love the way Francis plays the game.
In field goal range, but thinking touchdown.
Well, you got 2 timeouts. You can even run the ball here. Don't forget about the run game if you're Joey Lynch.
Seals, another quick throw. Back shoulder, and body couldn't hold it. The ball was there.
Oh, it was an excellent throw. And those are the throws you saw in his first career start against Texas A&M. You watched that game against Texas A&M a year ago. These are the types of throws the Texas gunslinger was making. Right on the money in a drop from body. Right on his body, on his shoulder.
2nd and 10, 51 seconds.
You got some room in here, though, if you're Seals. You got to take advantage of that.
Seals, pump fake, fires, caught, touchdown! That's Pierce. 20 yards, and Vandy sticks it in the end zone.
That's a good drive by Ken Seals.
And remember the punt that was partially blocked that gave them the field position.
Yeah, Alan George. Yeah, who's a big-time special teams player. He plays on their kickoff, on their punt team. And he does a little bit of everything on defense.
Extra point is up and good. Momentum turn. Vanderbilt is on the board.
Well, you got to get the ball to Chris Pierce. He's up here at the top of the screen. He's just going to run a quick slant. We've been asking for this quick slant one-on-one. Now, he scored 2 touchdowns against Florida a year ago with moves like this. Just beats the corner off the ball. It really turns into more of a skinny post. And look at Seals, the instincts to make the good throw. This is the matchup, guys. Cameron one-on-one. It's a miss.
No gain. 2nd and 10. Davis in the backfield. Play action. Seals a throw. And it looked like Pierce may have slowed down just at the wrong spot. Rashad Ajayi in coverage.
And you see in this release by Pierce, he gets Ajayi on his heels, and he's open. And again, an inaccurate throw. And maybe there's an issue with the timing sometimes between Pierce maybe he was expecting an outside release between Pierce and Seals, because he was open inside, expecting that ball on the inside shoulder.
And you're right, there was no slowdown. That was just a bad throw. 3rd down 10. He has time. Almost picked. Almost to the house. The Nunzio, the senior, the former walk-on.
Well, this is what you're looking for. You're in zone coverage. He's a hook defender, and so he has to take that away, and he's looking at the goal post and not looking through the ball.
He's a former wide receiver.
And that has to shock everybody that he dropped the ball. Maybe that's why he's playing defensive back. I don't know, but
it could be right.
He's a heck of a player as a gunner on their punt team as well.
Harrison Smith. Another high booming kick for him. Fair catch called for and made at the 28-yard line by Dante Wright. Well, the scoreboard is just 7 points. When you compare offenses tonight, it's a huge gap in Colorado State's favor. The 2 missed field goals obviously hurt, and then Vanderbilt gained momentum at the end of the first half.
And they've played a little bit better as they've gotten closer to the red zone in some of those instances, but they've had almost a bend but don't break philosophy, but it's kind of tough to say that when they're running the ball.
Centeo pulls it. It is across the 30 to the 32. That's a gain of 4. Remember the first drive in the first half, Colorado State in 2 minutes went 75 yards on 5 plays, and this is their first touch of the second half. That's David Bailey, close to the first down, short by about a yard. Davian Davis made the stop for Vanderbilt. In a hurry-up offense. Bailey in the backfield. Centeo is going to keep it. I don't know. I don't know if he got enough. He's right near the stick.
That'll be an interesting spot.
Well, they're going to say, the officials will say, he had enough for the first down.
It certainly looked like they got enough of a push inside.
Well, remember last week that there was a 4th down and 1 that turned the game late when Colorado State went for it, got turned away, and then South Dakota State would score right away. Centeo, oh, diving interception. How about that? Jalen Mahoney, big play for Vanderbilt.
If you're looking for somebody to step up and make a play, you would expect the South Point High School, South Carolina product possibly to be that guy, because he gave up a couple of plays a week ago, but he's probably their best corner. And that's something that with 2 interceptions a year ago, Mahoney says, we're going to change the number around. You throw it and keep coming at me, I'll dive and take your lunch money.
Wow.
And it's Mahoney that's got the Commodores on their side of the ball.
Colorado State. 2 days ago, we talked to Clark Lee, the head coach at Vanderbilt, and he was one of the first to hug Mahoney. And one of the things he said was he needs to impart to his team, we've got to take the scoreboard out of the equation. He felt that his team last week when they fell behind was deflated. This week they fall behind 14-0, not deflated. It's 14-7, and now they're right near midfield on 1st and 10 after the turnover. Davis bounces off a tackle, gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
He talked about insulating the program from outside opinion. You know, it can't be defined by our self-pity. Like poor old me, the scoreboard watching. And that's been something that, you know, a lot of different teams at Vanderbilt have had to overcome. But, you know, one thing that he's been a part, Clark Lee, of a team that actually, I think, set the framework for the bowl team in 2008. That was the first bowl team all the way back from 1982. And so he knows about the process.
A whole lot of movement and a lot of flags. And they try to sort this out. This is
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
from referee James Carter to Jenny Dell. Jenny?
Yeah, we're just updating you on Marshawn Cameron. He had an ankle injury at the start of fall camp, a rotator cuff injury in the spring, had surgery, and just got back last week. As we saw, he was helped off the field into the injury tent. He's now doing running drills on the sideline. His helmet is back on. But, guys, the Rams are very thin at defensive secondary. You got to look at Logan Stewart, who had ankle surgery in the spring. Henry Blackburn is banged up. Looks like he's wearing a soccer pad. And Linwood Crump is now out for the season. So they definitely need him back.
And right now, that secondary, nice job, Jenny, gives up a 10-yard toss. Third down here. Quick screen. Johnson is hit, and he is short. And the ball's loose, but it's covered.
Yeah, now you got a decision to make, and I think they're going to go for it on this fourth down coming up now. There's a pretty good tackle that time by Francis, a guy we've mentioned quite a bit. And really, Schoenwald just made a very alert recovery to keep this drive alive. And here we go, fourth down.
They're going for it. Quick throw, caught there. Johnson in traffic. First down, Vandy.
And the quick passing game has worked. And if you're going to go to a dependable receiver as Johnson, watch him run the slant. He's not afraid of contact. See how he spun away from the hit right there? That's having a spatial awareness that's tough to find. He does a good job in traffic.
Davis in the backfield. Seals will toss it out of bounds, trying to avoid the sack. Unfortunately, he didn't avoid the contact. He got popped pretty good.
And that's from a player, Tavion Brown, who plays off the edge as a stand-up. He'll match some routes. He plays a right guard on their punt team. Tavion Brown is a pretty active player for them and somebody that I think is going to have a pretty good season for the Rams.
Second down, 10. Inside the 40. Blitz comes. Seals throws. Sideline. Caught by Johnson again. Circles around inside the 35 to the 34. And this is third down and manageable. Back to that last throw.
Well, he's under pressure. McBride is left free, and he has to take another shot, but he makes an accurate throw. Seals' toughness has never been a question mark for Seals.
They're in field goal range. Seals throw, sideline, incomplete.
No, that's a catch.
Did he
that's
catch
a
it?
catch. That's
He
a
got
catch.
it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Chris.
At the 8.
Yeah, similar to the catch a week ago. Just give him a chance. He's
That's
6'4",
Pierce.
230. Oh my goodness.
Oh, goodness, what a catch. 25 yards.
And you're going and go right back to the matchup again. He's down here at the bottom.
Griffin, when the ball arrived, he was so wrapped up, and it looked like from our angle it came out, but it never came out.
Yeah, well, he's done this a lot over the last 2 years.
I mean, that's interference to begin with, and that's an unbelievable catch to finish. And Vanderbilt is inside the 10.
Well, he's a matchup problem. I mean, again, 4 catches, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Florida last year. They couldn't tackle him. He actually had a touchdown last week that got called back, a 38-yarder.
Shepard's at the bottom of your screen on 2nd and goal. Davis in the backfield. 4 men come. Seals throw, caught, touchdown! Cam Johnson, and Vanderbilt is about to draw even. And Ken Seals on the money.
It was a good route. And right now you got Francis saying, what's going on? He's asking his defenders, where is the help?
2 momentum plays. First, the block punt. The interception here early in the 3rd. And Vanderbilt has turned both of those into 14 points. In a game that Colorado State should have been leading 20-0, it is 14 apiece. This, the pick. Jalen Mahoney with the interception. Then this. Chris Pierce Jr. and 11. Vandy shows pressure. They come with a blitz. Quarterback draw, and Centeo is short of the first down. But a good read by the quarterback for Colorado State.
Well, excellent tackle. I mean, that is an unbelievable tackle one-on-one. And now here comes the punt team with Stonehouse.
You heard the crowd. They were calling for Steve Adazio to go for it.
No way.
Remember last week on 4th and 1.
No way. Not again. Then they'd be booing again. He got a lot of flack for that call a week ago. It's one thing to be aggressive, but got to temper that a little bit if you're this crowd.
Stonehouse gets that one away. Johnson lets it bounce, and it bounces out of bounds. Commodores and Rams. Yeah, it's a tight one.
Yeah.
Hey!
EJ versus your other senior on the other side, a matchup nightmare for a lot of opponents. And then Mahoney with an excellent play to set up another veteran in Johnson. And Clark Lee, you can see the poise on the sidelines, but he's not going to get too excited. He knows there's a lot of time left in this game, but what a job by his team fighting back.
Yeah, no self-pity, he told us. We can't in this program have any of that. And no woe is us again. And to their credit, they fell down 14-0, and they were thoroughly outplayed in the first 15 minutes of this football game. It very easily could have been 20-0 or 28-0.
Yeah, he talked about stripping it down to the studs and building it from substance. And when you down 14-0 after losing to an FCS opponent the week before, you might have to strip it back down to the studs in practice. And that's probably what some of the tough conversations occurred for this team during the week.
And Seals has kind of embodied that tonight. That mental toughness, hanging in there, not letting it affect him. And that's Pierce, who's made an unbelievable catch. Is he inbounds? He is. He's made another one.
His body control is incredible, Rich. And it was something that showed up a lot last year. Now he's got Cameron's hurt, and it looks like he's a little bit injured. And look at the toe tap, 2 feet down, and he's auditioning for the NFL early.
That's 25 yards on that catch. How did he stay in bounds first on the route and second on the catch? And they may review this to see if he indeed was out.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch. The previous play is under review.
That's a good review because he's going to have to, he's not forced out. I don't know if he stepped out, though. I think and that's what I'm talking about. You see how he let his body die along the sidelines? He let his body go limp.
And the toes, I think, touched first.
Yeah. See, they're going to have to look and see if that left foot was out of bounds first, though.
Ooh, I don't know. That's going to be tough to overturn. The original call holds a lot of weight, which was complete pass. So
I think they may be looking at whether or not he was out of bounds and came back in and was in the first to touch it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's that they're looking at, because you can't come back in and be the first to touch it if you're out of bounds. And so, maybe they're saying, did he get 2 feet down? I think that's a catch.
One thing is apparent, and Vanderbilt may not have a deep threat, but they are exploiting their size against the defense of Colorado State.
No, you're exactly right about that. And that was a little bit of a double move that time, Rich. And I think that was clean from this angle anyway. And here again, did he step out of bounds before, right there, that right foot? Did that right foot step out of bounds first?
I don't know if you can tell definitively.
I don't think so.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Completed catch for a first down.
And of course, stands means they can't confirm the call, thus they can't overturn it. There was not enough to overturn it, and there wasn't enough to confirm the call either.
You know what's interesting about Pierce? He's a guy that comes from, in terms of his background, that's 236 pounds. To have that kind of body control is rare. I think they have to understand he's a difference maker.
He's a 6'4". He's like a hybrid tight end wide receiver. Inside catch there, Shepard. The heck with the running game right now. The quick strike passing game for Vanderbilt is rolling.
Well, this is a good route. They're playing a little bit of a zone, and it was a good downhill tackle by Blackburn, but yards after the catch for Shepard. And remember, we talked about going to the quick game to protect this offensive line, which basically you haven't heard much from the Colorado State defensive front because they've sped up his drops.
And remember, Shepard's a big receiver as well, 6'3", 200. Davis in the backfield. Colorado State on their heels. Vandy on the move. Another short throw, another nice catch. Shepard again. 11, 12, 14 more yards.
And they found a mismatch outside. And right now, Cameron's struggling. And so they're kind of, a lot of times coordinators will find that one weakness. Just keep going back to it. It's Cameron again, one-on-one. You've gone at him 3 or 4 straight times.
Davis on a pitch. Gets to the edge and gets to the 15-yard line. That is a 6-yard gain. Our red zone is brought to you by Verizon. Vandy didn't sniff the red zone early in this game, but they've been in it a few times. They've got a couple of scores to show for it.
And this, to me, goes back to the original report by, again, Jenny, about that altitude. A lot of times with altitude, you begin to get more used to it as it goes along in the game. And you could tell now, I think they've even gotten Colorado State on their heels a little bit.
Second down and 3. Seals, blitz comes. Off his back foot, end zone, and it's incomplete. Body is the intended receiver. Remember the other report by Jenny Dell about how banged up the defensive backfield of Colorado State has been.
And that may be the bigger report right now, because right now, when you look at Cameron and how he struggled on this drive, and we've already seen some of the work that Pierce has put on against Robert Floyd. So how much can you protect your secondary if your defensive coordinator, Chuck Heater?
Third down, 3.
I think they got some room inside again over the slot.
Griffin in the backfield. Seals another quick pop, and it's caught right at the stick. It's Body, and he falls forward for the first down. This is going to be inside the 10. This is going to be 1st and goal, Vanderbilt.
It was a good quick read. I think the 3-step passing game by Joey Lynch and David Rye, they've done a great job of going to that here in the second half.
Griffin on his feet, lunges. I don't know if he's in. He's not. They mark it inside the 1. That's a 9-yard carry by Rocco Griffin, the sophomore. And a quick snap. And it Seals, and he's in. Touchdown, Vanderbilt. What a complete turnaround by Vandy in this football game.
You know, I think that if you're head coach Clark Lee, this is what you wanted. You wanted to get behind. You wanted to find out what your team was made of. And right here, Ken Seals, he's been behind. He's accounted for all 3 touchdowns, either rushing or passing. And he's taken some hits in this game. We saw it early, but he stayed the course. And I think that's what Clark Lee wanted to see from his football team. And it has to start with your leader at the quarterback position.
Joseph Bulovas.
You got a couple of those watches, don't you?
I am not a watch guy. I can assure you that. That one is up and in.
You were talking about it earlier. I was like...
Ken Seals and Vanderbilt are roaring right now. 21 unanswered points, and suddenly Vandy, trying to snap this long losing streak, is on top in Fort Bill. 21 unanswered points. Our Geico difference makers early in the game. Certainly Todd Centeo had a lot of completions in that first half and built a 14-0 lead. And how about Ken Seals now? 20 for 31. He's over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks.
Yeah, no picks. And I think that the one thing that that's not on the stat sheet is the number of quarterback hits he's taken in this game, whether it's been a sack or a quarterback hit.
End-over-end kick into the end zone. And Panunzio goes to a knee, and we go to Jenny Dell. Jenny?
Yeah, an update on Rams wide receiver Dante Wright. He needed help into the injury tent, and then he was emotional walking out to the locker room with a towel on his head. From what I could see, they were looking at the leg. And Vandy defensive coordinator Jesse Minter said Wright was a focus of their game plan because he can take the top off the defense. So this could be a huge loss for Colorado State, guys.
That's a great point, Jenny, because now Colorado State is playing from behind for the first time tonight. And you see the yardage this quarter. Huge win for Vanderbilt. Kind of a sidearm throw. Bailey to catch. A one-man gang. Bailey is out across the 35 to the 37. That's a 12-yard throw and catch.
Got a chance to capture Centeio on the edge. Look at the arm angle by Centeio. And then you have the missed tackle by Chase Lloyd. And it seems like there's somebody down. I think that might be Lloyd, who we just alluded to.
It is, the sophomore.
Now, that was David Bailey has made a lot of players miss tonight. I probably counted 10 missed tackles. And here's another example. Look at the stop and start for the 240-pounder. And then he goes right past Maxwell Worship. If not for Orgy, he might have been in the open field again.
He really fits the offense that Steve Adazio had at Boston College with guys like A.J. Dillon and Andre Williams, the big, bruising 235, 240 guys that even linebackers can't bring down.
Yeah, you make such a good point. And I think part of why you wanted him here is because you know that if you're building a mentality, the way he runs fits the blocking schemes.
So where do you go now if you're Colorado State and John Budmeyer, their young offensive coordinator, without Dante Wright, who's a dynamic weapon? You still have Trey McBride, the tight end, and obviously Bailey is a weapon.
Well, I think you're going to have to get now, I haven't seen Ty McCullough much. He had a bunch of drops last week, but he's talented. And so that's another guy you can go to along with Jordan Kress.
Centeio will keep it, and he's across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Michael Owusu, the senior out of Oxnard, California, made the stop for Vanderbilt. Second down and 6. 5 minutes left, third quarter. Centeio, little option, pitch, Bailey hit, and he does not go down on the first hit easily. Orgy the stop. B.J. Anderson, I think, was the first hit.
Yeah, it was B.J. Anderson. And watch him come up right here, and he delivers to Anderson. And he says, no way. He said, I've got my 4, and here we go again with the hurry-up pace.
Movement flags. This was third down and a yard, and that's obviously going to change.
False start. Offense, number 53. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Colorado State had 8 games scheduled last year. They played just 4, and so they were a bit ragged in week 1. Vanderbilt in the SEC last year played 9 games.
Yeah, and Johnson has had a pretty good game tonight. Played okay a week ago as well.
So this is third down and 6. Centeio rolling, stopping, little crossfire, tipped and incomplete. Great effort there. Marcus Bradley got a hand on the pass, and Alan George made a leap for it at the end.
Oh man, and it looked like Ethan Barr also knocked it away, and right here you can see everybody's is in cover, but you got another open man down the field. He can't get it to him. When you're rolling to your left, that's only John Elway. He'll probably make that throw. I know Denver fans probably agree with me up here in Colorado, but there's not a lot of guys rolling left that can throw the ball 60 yards down the field. And John Elway's, he's in the front office now.
Stonehouse punt. Fair catch called for by Johnson. They'll let it bounce, and it takes a Vandy bounce. You want NFL. You'll get NFL, my friend. NFL on CBS regular season kicks off. Fantastic doubleheader. Early action. Steelers and Bills. Jets take on their former quarterback. 2 of the game's best young QBs, Mayfield and Mahomes. And it all gets started with JB and the guys on the NFL Today at noon Eastern. And we'll see you tomorrow for that. The NFL on CBS. Joel Dreesen longtime NFLer, former tight end for Colorado State, played for the Broncos, among others, also the Texans and the Jets. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight, the Colorado State Hall of Fame. Vandy with it. Seals keeps. And he surges out to the 39-yard line. That's a gain of 7.
That was a good shot by our crew because they got a shot of him with the more faith on the tattoo on his bicep. And I think that the guy that he mentors,
yes,
he has the faith tattoo as well.
That's Trey McBride.
Yeah. So I think that was something that I caught there. That was an excellent job of our crew of showing those tattoos because the guy that he mentors even followed with the tattoos.
Yeah, the McBride brothers, who are certainly on this Colorado State team, both grew up in Fort Morgan, where Dreesen grew up. This is Body, and that play was really strung out.
Yeah.
And a good play, Cameron Carter pursuing from his linebacker spot.
And I like Carter. I thought last year he played pretty well. You know, I think it takes him a couple of steps to get going, but he falls back pretty well as a linebacker. He's got good straight line speed. And now here on 3rd down and 2, the quick passing game, the quick slants, they have not done anything in terms of defending those here in the second half.
Griffin in the backfield. Seals looking for that slant. Good coverage this time. Incomplete. Shepard, the intended receiver.
A flag, though.
A flag, a late flag.
Yeah. And he grabbed him around the waist.
Marshawn Cameron.
Yeah.
The flag is at midfield, and this should be a 1st down.
Now, if it was tipped, then that flag, they'd have to pick it up.
Pass interference. Defense, number 26. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic
All right,
first
let's
down.
take a look and see if it was clean off of Seals' hands. No, it wasn't tipped.
No, it was not. It was a tight spiral, and it really comes down to Cameron getting the hands here a little early, right there, and then again he grabs the left arm, and so Cameron, he's opening up his waist to the sidelines. He's not staying square, and that's when you're a little bit concerned about them running the go route. But they've been running the slant on you. Stay inside.
There's been some big penalties for Colorado State that have helped Vandy. Remember the Trey McBride unsportsmanlike. Rocco Griffin with the carry. And now all of a sudden this running game is chewing up 7 or 8 yards a carry.
Now Griffin's built low to the ground, about 5'6", 203 pounds. So he's a little tougher to tackle than you think, because even though he's only 5'6", 200 pounds on a 5'6" frame, you're gonna have a tough time getting a grasp to wrap tackle. And so him coming in as a change of pace, maybe you go back to him again here if you're Vanderbilt.
2nd and 2. Why not? They pitch it to him. He's got the 1st down and puts the shoulder down and bowls himself across the 40. Ends up at the 37-yard line. Raymond Davis and Rocco Griffin are a really nice 1-2 punch. Flag is down.
Might be a holding call here on the left side.
That was a late flag back at the 43.
Might be a legal block. We'll see.
I think that's Tavian Brown who's down.
Brown, we've talked about him a little bit earlier in the game. So here's Brown, and that's an illegal low block. You can't do that many yards down the field. And that was by Schoenwald, and he kind of got it from the side. And you'll see the angle that he takes here. And they're trying to get those blocks out of the game as much as possible. And you have to have those blocks that are in terms of straight on if you're going to go low, not to the side.
Brown is up.
It's dangerous for a defender trying to defend against, try to protect your legs.
During the run, personal foul, illegal block below the waist, Vanderbilt, number 10. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, remains 2nd down.
That wipes out a nice gain, and it costs 15 yards.
And penalties have been a huge issue for Vanderbilt through 2 weeks. Last week they had 8 penalties against East Tennessee State. And tonight, penalties have also been a factor. They're up around 6 or 7 now.
Last year, they were well behaved. They didn't have a lot of flags last year.
I'll say something about the penalties after this play.
2nd down and 12. Seals going to Pierce. He's had 2 incredible catches, so you're almost disappointed that he didn't make another one there.
Yeah.
All right, give me your thought on the penalties.
Well, there's a couple of the thought process here, Rich. Sometimes penalties indicate you have a more aggressive team. So there's some teams that have a lot of penalties if you go back and look, and they're winning a lot of games. So you have to get, there's a balance between coaching the penalties too much, because you're going to lose some of the aggressiveness. And I think Clark Lee, with his mentality, he doesn't want to have a penalized team, but he definitely wants an aggressive team.
Late night, Fort Collins, 3rd and 12, Vanderbilt. Early movement, no flags yet. Seals throws under duress, and it's incomplete. And that penalty, that illegal block, really took the wind out of the Vandy drive.
That's a much better job by their tackles. You see the tackles, they're giving him a pocket. Now, late in that down, Kamara, he got inside of Steen, but Steen has settled down. Remember, he got beaten a couple of times early by Patchen, and they were off balance. But those tackles have settled down as the game is going on.
Harrison Smith. Man, that's another massive punt. Lands at the 5 and is downed there. My goodness.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, that is, you're talking about somebody that not only is coming up for the moment, remember who's the punter on the other side, Stonehouse. He's making his own statement, and this is a little bit of a directional punt.
This is 53 yards, my friend, and it checks up beautifully.
He gets to the bounce back. It was not a drop punt. It was just a regular spiral punt, and it's just pretty good placement. Again, it's tough to punt directionally. You know, as a cover guy, you want to know where the ball is going to be kicked so you can be in good position to make a play. And that's one of the things that I've been most impressed about watching him over the years is the fact that he can punt directionally, and that's probably just as important as hang time.
I think it's just tough to punt, period.
You're right about that.
Directionally or non-directionally.
And golf.
And this Vandy, you know, it feels like the Vandy defense has fed off of the offense. And when the entire momentum turned, of course, there was a great interception by Mahoney. But suddenly this defense is playing with a little swagger and a little confidence.
And if I'm Colorado State, I'm going to make sure that confidence is real and not fabricated. Keep running the ball.
2nd down and 9.
That's Davis with the penetration, number 9.
And Vivens with the carry.
He didn't make the play, Davis, but he got up the field and he penetrated it. That's really what he needs to do. He's not going to always be a guy that's going to be able to two-gap because he's not real long. But he is quick. He's actually not one of their longer defenders. His game is about quickness. Can you get your hands on Davis? That's how he operates inside.
Colorado State has lost the lead, and they've lost their best playmaker, Dante Wright. Centeo under pressure, had to throw it early before the break of E.J. Scott. B.J. Anderson on the coverage, and the Vandy defense is really in the face of Centeo.
You're looking at the coverage, but it's really Elijah. That's a great jam outside by B.J. Alexander, but B.J. Anderson, excuse me. But look at the length of McAllister. That's what we were talking about in the open. 6'6", 261 pounds. He had a very good 2019 season. He caused that incompletion rushing off the edge.
Colorado State really needs Ryan Stonehouse to get into one here. And he does just that. Look at that kick. My goodness, big roll all the way down to the 10. It's picked up there by Johnson, and he's captured immediately. That is an All-American punter. That is 81 yards.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And you were talking about a spiral punt. This is another spiral punt. And just distance. We're talking about 74 yards of just distance. I mean, that's very rare. I don't care about altitude. Don't give me that. And when we talked to their coach, Coach Adazio, he said that he coached one of the best punters in the league right now, Brandon McManus. And he said he was an elite specialist, but he said this guy
is the best he's seen.
Is the best he's seen. And when you're producing the way that he has, and you show this type of leg strength, he's a draft pick.
He's also a legacy. His dad was a great punter. His uncle's great punters. Dad Paul, uncles John and Jeff, the Stonehouses. Tavian Brown back in. That's good to see. He makes the stop. Vanderbilt with the football. Deep in their own territory, but this is a much different game than the first half. Vanderbilt was down 14-0. 4 quarters to this one. And Vandy right now trying to end this long losing streak. Big plays on offense and defense. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network. Vanderbilt was down 14-0 with an 11-game losing streak off the canvas, 21 unanswered points. 4th quarter in Fort Collins, tight game. Rich Waltz, Corey Chavis, Jenny Dell. Commodores with the football, 2nd down and 10. Ken Seals is back, down the sideline, flags are down. Shepard, the intended receiver. Marshawn Cameron in coverage.
Pass interference, defense, number 26, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
On the outside, and you can see him grabbing that left arm again. And give credit to Seals. If you're going to give me the one-on-one matchup, you're talking about defensive coordinator Chuck Heater. I mean, one thing about Chuck Heater, he has no problem challenging his secondary, no matter who's out there, to play some man coverage. And right now, Cameron is the guy that has a target on his back.
Lamont Davis is hit. Remember what Clark Lee told us 2 days ago. He felt in the first game, when Vanderbilt felt behind, the entire weight of the losing streak and the woe is me just swallowed up his team. And this week he talked about, look guys, we can't take the scoreboard, tear it out and throw it out of the stadium. We can't play to the scoreboard. If we fall behind, we can't look at that as a hole that we can't climb out of. And here they've climbed out of a 14-0 hole to lead it by 7. Shepard the catch, Cameron with the tackle, and we go down to Jenny Dell.
Well, guys, for folks that are at home, the canvas chaos just happened. So at the start of the 4th quarter, they turn off all the lights in here and everyone goes wild. Music is playing. But let me tell you, the Vandy team was loving it. They were dancing around, having a blast, kind of playing around with the Rams fans. It really is re-energized down here. Yep,
and insulate the program from outside opinion was also in that speech, Jenny. And this team, Vanderbilt, now has to try to finish. And that's a whole nother challenge, isn't it, Corey?
It is, and this last play is indicative of that. That was a play where you sit down in the zone, and against the zone coverage there on 3rd and 2, Seals is expecting Johnson to sit it down. He runs it like it's against man. So they're not on the same page, and you had a makeable 3rd and 2. Remember, it's just a 1-score game. You can't give away opportunities like that to a Colorado State offense that knows it can have success against your defense.
It's been a great night for punters. Harrison Smith is averaging 48 yards a kick. That one almost was blocked. And it lands out of bounds. Colorado State down 7, gets the football. When we return to Fort Collins. First Navy matchup, that was just terrific on CBS. And here we are, late night in Fort Collins. Vanderbilt has a 7-point lead. Todd Centeio of Colorado State. That ball's deflected. Was it caught? Was it intercepted? No, incomplete. As Rashawn Wilkins couldn't get it before it hit the turf. And this is a Vanderbilt team that has lost 11 in a row, fell behind early, 14-0, was dominated in the first half. Colorado State missed a couple of field goals, and now
Serge just had a chance to pick that off. Another tip by Davis.
I think now the question is you see Bailey fighting, and he's short of the first down. This will be 3rd down and 4. How do you move the football if you're Colorado State? You don't have Dante Wright. He was taken off the field with a leg injury.
I keep giving it to number 5. Did you just see that last run? I mean, I really wonder if they're trying to throw just to mix it up. I believe number 5, they haven't found an answer. He's broken so many tackles tonight. I have to make sure they don't leave the stadium not remembering his number.
Bailey's got 80 yards on 14 carries. 3rd down throw, and again, the length of the Vandy defense. Christian James got a hand up, and Centeio's pass is knocked down.
You said it best. And again, actually it was Davis again. And he's the guy that doesn't really have the long arms, but he's got timing. That's 3 pass breakups for 1 defensive. He's the guy we talked about in the open, and Davis has produced. I mean, let's face it, to have 3 pass breakups from a defensive lineman in 1 game, that's unheard of.
Centeio started 12 of 18. He's 2 of 9 since. Stonehouse gets a lot of height, and this time Cam Johnson is able to get under it and seal it with a fair catch. Lots of mistakes. First, the 2 missed field goals in the first half.
I just think those are misses. I mean, again, you're either going to make it or miss it. Again, this is a guy making a play. That's not a miscue. That is again Alan George. Now that to me is a mental error, and that's a dropped interception. So you either make the plays or you don't make the plays, and I think it goes both ways. And I think as the game is going on, the biggest plays have been made by Vanderbilt.
Ken Seals has had an excellent second half. The quarterback for Vanderbilt started as a true freshman last year. And a throw to Pierce, who's made 2 incredible catches and has been a dependable target for Seals tonight.
That was a little bit of a statement at the end.
Something out of that. Henry Blackburn, Robert Floyd with the tackle. 3rd down and short coming up for Vanderbilt.
In the last 3rd and short, they had a pretty miscommunication between Cam Johnson and Ken Seals. You can't afford it now with your starting left tackle, potentially your best offensive lineman leaving the field. And you're coming in with Jason Brooks, the sophomore. You can't afford a mental error right here.
Tyler Steen, starting left tackle, lost his helmet on that play and had to come out for this snap. 3rd down and 3. Seals throw a little late. It was behind Cam Johnson.
Same route on the last play. That's 2 straight 3rd downs where him and Johnson have not been on the same page. And let's mark that play down if they come back and this game gets out of their grasp, because those 2 plays are critical when you're trying to control time of possession.
Joey Lynch, offensive coordinator last year here at Colorado State, quarterback coach, and very early on in the fall camp they decided they'd let him call plays as well. Smith, the punt. Robinson gets a block and is caught at the 25-yard line. 11.5 minutes left in Fort Collins. Clark Lee and Vandy trying to snap that streak. Tech then, number 21 Utah at San Diego State, and then number 9 Iowa State at UNLV. How are those teams doing? How did they do today? Well, look at this. Iowa State lost to Iowa. Utah right now is down to BYU. That's somewhat of a surprise. Not a surprise that San Diego State is beating Arizona like that. And UNLV is hanging tough on the road in Tempe against Sparky and Arizona State.
Arizona State had all those starters returning, and people were expecting big things from them in the Pac-12 South.
51 total yards of offense for Colorado State in the second half. And they're going to lose yardage there. Alex Williams, Anthony Orji made the stop.
Alex Williams is a guy out of Princeton North High School. Watch him on the edge right here, number 80. He's going to get off late, and there was a good penetration inside to force that play to bounce.
305 yards of offense for Colorado State in the first half. And it's absolutely dried up. Centeo rolling. Quick pop. Vivens with the catch. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
Again, they're going to the bootleg game. That's been a big part of their attack tonight. At some point, here we go, 3rd down and 7. Drop back passing game. They're going to have to gain confidence in that as the season goes on. Now, here's McBride right here in the number 3 slot. They have not gone to him a lot here. Going to move him in motion, probably run some type of out route with him.
He's got 5 catches, and they all came early. Oh, wow, closing and denying. That's Brendan Harris, the senior.
Oh, what a break. And he anticipated the route. This is their most popular route combination on 3rd down. And he was going for McCullough. So what they do is they use McBride to run a quick out, and then the other receiver that's accompanying him on the route runs a corner route. So they saw that on film. Harris, he triggered. It made a great play.
Cam Johnson is deep. Stonehouse gets another boomer. And Johnson's going to have some room for a return. But the hole closes quickly. Good special teams. 21-14. Vandy on top in the 4th. The long snapper who made the initial hit. But at the end of the play, Tavion Brown on special teams came in, and they are looking at targeting for this. There's Ryder 86, and that's Brown 55.
That's tough for me because he's returning the football. But, I mean, is he in a defenseless position?
Targeting number 55 of the kicking team. Number 55 will be disqualified for the remainder of the contest.
Well, that's a huge loss.
Yeah. I think the reason that, obviously you can see by the definition of the rule, he lowered the helmet, and all of the indicators were met. He led with the crown of his helmet. However, Ryder was actually spinning him into the tackle. So you can see how Ryder is spinning him, and that's what causes the actual targeting. And by the way, Ryder, he's one of the faster long snappers that I've seen get down in coverage, and he actually is the reason why Brown got ejected, because he was making the tackle, and that's why his head ended up hitting him.
Now that's advanced football analytics. Foot speed of the long snapper.
Well, he
Seals dumps it off as body comes across the pattern, and he's going to be caught for a 2-yard loss by Logan Stewart.
Well, this is another good play by Stewart, who was a former starter. It's a pretty good hit. And waiting on him to get healthy. They said just about the confidence. He's been cleared. And, you go back to 2019, he had 2 interceptions and 76 tackles. They need him out there, particularly with the secondary people that Jenny has already told us about that have been dropping.
Ankle surgery, missed fall camp. But as you noted, he's been cleared, and he's making an impact right now. And Colorado State, who looks so dynamic defensively. I mean, remember how dominant the defensive line was?
Yeah.
You got to give credit to this offensive line of Vanderbilt in the second half.
We'll also give credit, I think, a little bit to the offensive coordinator, Joey Lynch, to cut down the drops. And even here on 3rd and 9, I would not go to a 5-step drop or anything like that. Quick game, regardless, you still go to the quick game. But you got to think, Chuck Heater really played man coverage. You're probably going to see a lot of room out here for zone. Maybe you attack that if you're Seals.
This is 3rd down and 9. Seals hit as he throws, got the ball out, bodied the catch, reached for the sticks, and he's got the first down. A lot of things to like on that play for Vanderbilt.
Well, it was a pretty good job by them picking this up. And now he did get a little bit of free hit late in that down, but they're playing zone, as we talked about, because the bodies that Jenny mentioned early, they're not there to play the man coverage. So he takes advantage of the zone.
No bodies to cover body. There's Davis to the 45-yard line. Now, certainly the storylines here is the losing streak. Clark Lee, coming from Notre Dame as the defensive coordinator, took over for a team that didn't win a game last year, was 0-9, and lost their last game 2 years ago and lost their first game this year. Arizona, the leader in the clubhouse, and that's going to grow with San Diego State just walloping the Wildcats in Tucson.
Yeah, we went through a number of different losing streaks even when I was there, but nothing in 11 games.
Seals, oh, nice back shoulder catch. Will Shepard, the size, there's a flag down. This could be offensive interference, and I think it is. And Shepard at 6'3", 200, he showed it.
Pass interference, offense, number 14. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
That's a big penalty.
It really is, and you're going to see him up here at the top. And watch what he does right here at the end with the extension of the arm. I don't know, that's a little bit of a questionable call for me. Well, you're going to have a lot of these types of throws from Seals to these receivers during the course of the year as they move along. So that's going to have to be something they get a little bit more savvy with to get the separation on those back shoulder fades.
So instead of first down, it turns it into second down and 24. Clock running. Vanderbilt with the lead and the football. It's been a while since those words have been uttered. And this may have been a delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense, number 8, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Clark Lee's talking about the play clock, and he's arguing that it may have been something, may have been even a reset, maybe potentially after the last penalty. But if you're Seals in that situation, you know Joey Lynch has to be disappointed. You cannot take another loss of yardage.
Even with the penalty, the clock restarted. Quick throw, body the catch. And Devin Body has become a dependable target here late in this ball game. And this is not third down and manageable, it's third down and a bunch.
Yeah, maybe just run another screen, another quick game just to get out of the down. Your punter has had really a dispossession. Your punter has had a spectacular night and play to the advantage. We talked about field position in the open when we first started this contest, and now is where you have to win the field position battle.
Third down, 22. There's your draw. That's Davis. We'll get to the 40. And the punter you're talking about is Harrison Smith, who's been outstanding for Vanderbilt. We have two of the better punters in the country in this football game. Stonehouse of Colorado State, Harrison Smith of Vanderbilt.
One of the things that you know about Clark Lee's defense is at Notre Dame, they were always good in terms of scoring defense, and 13th in scoring defense back in 2018. So this is an opportunity again to play the field position game and make them drive the length of the field. You're going to have to rely on this defense and see what they're made of.
That is a wobbler, and it sails out of bounds. That's the first bad punt that he's had on a big night.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
In Fort Collins tonight, Vanderbilt is trying to end one of the longest losing streaks in the country. They fell behind in this game 14-0. They could have easily been behind 28-0. Clark Lee told us we've got to be able to, when we're down, get ourselves out of a hole. They've done that now. Now Vanderbilt has to figure out how to finish this game. Centeio rolling, and he finds McBride, who has been quiet for the longest time, but the All-American candidate makes the catch, and he's out at midfield. Just the third first down for Colorado State in this second half. Todd Centeio pulls it. He's going to get just a yard. Ethan Barr makes the stop. Well, you see the plays, the yardage, the average, and it looks like, hey, this has been an even game throughout, but it was dominated early by Colorado State and dominated since late in the second by Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and I think those numbers are reflective of just how both teams have had their stretches.
Centeio, another ball deflected. Vanderbilt, as Corey Chavis has pointed out numerous times, has length. And we're not talking about wide receivers. We're talking about defensive linemen.
And watch what ends up happening here. You're actually getting number 33, DeRicky Wright. He plays kind of a quasi-outside linebacker, defensive end position. He moves around a little bit. He's 6'4".
DeRicky's got length.
Yes, he does.
6'4", 230. Third down, 9 now, right at midfield. Centeio rushed. Oh, great catch. Reaching behind and hauling it in is E.J. Scott.
An amazing throw that time by Centeio. Watch him under pressure again. He's getting hit. And he finds a way at the last minute. He's one of those players, he's not afraid to go to his second or third read and make an accurate throw. He's done it numerous times the first 2 weeks of the season.
Rams' most explosive weapon is down. Dante Wright. McBride. Oh, he caught it. Foot was down. That's a catch. First and goal from the 7.
And he's that receiver. They move him outside. He's going against the corner, and B.J. Anderson. And you're talking about a one-hand grab. And watch him. You want to see the body control? He's trying to get 2 down.
29 yards. Ball at the 6. Centeio rolling, looking, throwing, and throwing it away. It's incomplete.
He's got to be careful on the rolling to the left. It's the only time where he's had a couple of questionable decisions. Now, you're going to see him right here. He's going to be captured by Owusu, who does a good job of beating the cut block. And what a hit by Owusu. That's a very athletic play. Kid who's already graduated. His father, Francis, ran the 400 meters for the Ghanaian Olympic team. Tell you what, boy, he looked like a 400-meter sprinter on that one.
Centeio rolling, pumping, looking, keeps it, and puts the shoulder down. He's going to get to the 3, and this will bring up third down and goal. 3.5 minutes left. They are down 7.
And in the second half, they've done a much better job of capturing the edges versus Centeio. Because that's where he did a lot of his damage throwing the football. And here, we're going to get some power football. Now, you got 2 backs, and you're talking about, can you stop the run game? That's what this is going to come down to.
Bailey in the backfield. Gary Williams, a tight end in front of him. And was there movement? No, a timeout. Colorado State takes a timeout. Corey Chavis long ago gave us his keys to the game.
State.
And now's a good time to see how accurate you were and see who has received good grades.
Well, locate number 22, Dante Wright, did him a little bit of a favor because he ended up getting injured. But before that, he wasn't involved too much. 5 or more explosive plays. Vandy has 6. Negativity, CSU has cooperated. 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. A lot of negativity for the Vanderbilt offense, and then control field position. I think both teams have done a good job in that area.
All right, Corey Chavis, you're Colorado State. You're down 7. Third and goal from the 3. Obviously, you got 2 cracks at it. How do you approach this?
Well, I think on the first one you run it. You want to check and see. That gives you the option on 4th down of run pass, because you can line up in the exact same formation and potentially throw or run out of a run-oriented formation. Now, it looks like they're going to come out, and it looks like maybe McBride is going to play wide receiver. So if McBride's at receiver, then all bets are off. He's the primary target. He's down here at the bottom of the screen.
Centeio for McBride, back shoulder, and he missed him.
Yeah.
And Michael Owusu, a linebacker, was out there in coverage.
And you got to win that if you're McBride. Now, Centeio, we talked about as a drop back passer, still some question marks, a lot of good stuff on the run. Fourth down again, you got to go back to McBride. He's your money player. He's the guy. And even out of this formation, make a decision. Are you going to run it? Are you going to throw it?
4th and goal from the 3 and a timeout, Vanderbilt. 3:12 left.
First charge time out of the half.
Remember, this man was the
Vanderbilt.
defensive coordinator at Notre Dame and coached at a very high level in some really big games.
Yeah. And this is one of those situations where you got to kind of get a feel for what is John Budmeyer thinking here. Is he thinking play action pass? McBride has had a big night, 7 catches for 111 yards. But if you don't displace him, as we saw in the last one, that was a run-oriented formation the last time before the timeout.
All right, and tell me if this matters. The football is at the far right hash. We've seen tonight Centeio trouble throwing the ball when he rolls to his left.
Yes, a great point. And I think that now, but because of the fact that he's a much better thrower on the edges, we've seen most of his best throws have been on the edges. So if you do have to defend the pass, contain is going to be extremely important for Vanderbilt. In the second half, they've done a much better job of containing Centeio on the edges.
Well, McBride, certainly the All-American candidate, is a weapon at tight end, and here we go.
Well, to your point, they got 4 receivers to the left over here, Rich, and so it could go back that way, but
4th and goal, Centeio rolling. He's going to throw. It is caught, and a touchdown, and it's McBride. Well, that time rolling to his left, he was on the money.
The result of the play is a touchdown. The personal foul targeting defense number 32. The play is under review.
Wow. That's Ethan Barr, who's a key member of the Vanderbilt defense. Leading tackler last week.
Well, he sets the fronts, and that means it's the fronts for the defensive line. He makes the calls. So if you lose him, that's going to be a major blow.
And it's on the quarterback.
And I don't know if they may have gotten the wrong guy, because I don't think he hit the bottom of the shoulder. There's another guy that comes in, who is number 21 Worship, or 88 Owusu.
Yeah.
That's more of the shot from Owusu 88 as opposed to Barr. And I don't know if you want to lose one or the other, but I don't know if that was Barr. They may have gotten the wrong number. You don't want to eject the wrong player is my point.
From this view, I don't think you can tell definitively. I mean, he looks like he's leading with his shoulder, but the
Barr
other hit.
It's not on Barr. If that's targeted on Barr, take my microphone. Because, I mean, the bottom line is it's a Owusu 88 to me that if you're reviewing anybody targeting, it would have to be 88 Owusu. It can't be 32 Barr.
Do you think it's targeting? I think he leads with his shoulder.
I don't think it's targeting.
And it might be a late hit.
Yeah.
Right? It might be a late hit, but I don't know that it's targeting.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a late hit. Now, when you look at the rule, did he lead with the shoulder into the helmet or face mask? Is he leading with the shoulder?
I think he led with the shoulder.
After review, there is no foul for targeting. The score is good. We'll now have the try.
And this is a very big extra point with 3 minutes and 7 seconds left. Caden Camper, who has missed a couple field goals tonight. That was in the first half. Snap, kick, good. 21-21. Let's go to that touchdown. And again, Centeio rolling to his left and had difficulty throwing it tonight.
Well, everybody moves this way in terms of the blocking scheme, and he'll roll along with it. And then you're going to see as this goes along, watch number 85, McBride, what he does right here. He looks like he's going to block, and then he releases late. So everybody's in man coverage. They drop McBride. And again, that's the one guy you don't want to drop, right? And they decide to drop him late, and it's because of the fake block he was executing early in the down. Very good savvy by McBride. Centeio comes through.
So Colorado State, who is dormant the entire second half, rises up. Great drive. Remember the catch by McBride on the sideline of 29 yards. That got him first and goal inside the 10. And now with 3:07 left, Vanderbilt will get the football. They have 2 timeouts left. Colorado State has 2 timeouts left. Out to the 25. Coming up next, this is a good night to hang around and watch this, right? Inside college football, CBS Sports Network, take you coast to coast. Brent Stover, Kevin Carter, all the highlights. How about Florida State going down on a walk-off 59-yard touchdown pass?
And that's something else by former Clemson quarterback, it's Eric Cooper. That was his NFL draft moment. But right now, if you're Ken Seals, and even if you're Joey Lynch, the first time offense calling plays for Vanderbilt here, second straight week, do you start this off with the run?
Gonna throw it. Blitz comes. Seals hit. Ball to the sideline, and it is incomplete. Broken up. Will Shepard, flags are down.
Yeah, and he hadn't been able to get his head around Cameron all night.
Pass interference, defense, number 26, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So here we go. You're one-on-one with Shepard. Perhaps they're one of the more athletic receivers, and you never turn around. Now, you turn around a little bit late, but you kind of face guarded him down the stretch of that pass. And right now, they've got a target on the back end. You have to wonder how much more man coverage they'll leave him in. I think Heater continues to play man coverage.
Field goal target line, 36-yard line. Joseph Bulovas hit a 53-yard field goal last week. So he's got a big leg for Vandy. Another blitz, another quick throw. Catch there, Cam Johnson is going to gain about 7. Clock continues to roll. Ball at the 46.
Play clock was getting a little bit low. That was good operation that time by Seals. And where's Scott Patchen been? Number 1. Such a big first half. The defensive end for Colorado State. All Mountain West Conference performer.
Seals fakes the pitch, and he's got enough for the first down. He gains 4. Clock stopped. They move the chains. 2:33 left. 21-21, and a flag sits right at midfield where Seals came to earth.
One of the things Clark Lee talked about during the week was details of execution, and that's how you make the transition to winning.
Personal foul, targeting, defense, number 13. The previous play is under review.
That's Bam Amina. Now, as we learned with the last call, sometimes that first number isn't the one. Here's a look.
And that's understandable.
Yeah, it's 9. It's not Amina. It's Logan Stewart, number 9.
And that is a targeting. There's no question about it. Now, again, he's getting drawn. Kamara's dragging him down, but you're leading with the helmet. And Stewart, he's one of those guys that likes contact as well. He's coming in low. And
he didn't. There was no. He launched.
Yeah.
And that's part of the targeting. He launched and went crown of the helmet.
You said it perfectly. Crown of the helmet, and that is to protect him. Again, we've said that numerous times. This is to protect him, and particularly when you lead with the crown of the helmet, that's tough. It's going to be a tough blow.
After review, there's personal foul targeting number 9 of the defense. Number 9 is disqualified for the remainder of the game. That's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Corey, you played a long time in the NFL and certainly at Vanderbilt. These guys have been playing football since they were really young.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get that reaction to lead with the head out of your DNA?
It never leaves, and that's just something that football you're going to have to live with, because I can't tell you this numerous times, and I was a pretty, I thought I was at least a decent tackler. Plenty of times I led with my helmet. So the penalties have been huge for both teams. 19 combined penalties for both teams, and that's a huge number.
And he'll miss the first half of the next game for Colorado State. And now inside the target line for their field goal kicker, Vanderbilt has the clock and field position on their side, but they've got a lineman down right now.
Julian Hernandez, I believe, their left. Well, actually, I'm sorry, it's Warden, Michael Warden, their center, which is huge because now who do you go to at the center spot if he can't go?
Give this offensive line a lot of credit and a lot of love, because the defensive front of Colorado State dominated the first half. They sacked Seals 3 times in the first quarter, it felt like. And he's had time. They've provided holes here in the second half.
They have. I'm more impressed probably with the run part of it, as you alluded to. Now, I'm interested to see who they go to at center. And it looks like they're going to go with Kevo Wesley, the Curie High School, Illinois native. 3-star recruit, and be interested to see his first big moment.
He's got a smile on his face, like I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm ready. Let's go.
Right.
And this is, look, I don't know what happens from here on out with Vanderbilt, but whatever happens, I think Clark Lee can look at this game as a stepping stone where his team finally was able to shrug off a deficit and come back in a game, and not woe is me-ism in this with his team.
You again, think about it from this perspective. You had to listen all week about how bad you were about East Tennessee State, losing to East Tennessee State, an East Tennessee State team that was actually pretty good in terms of FCS spring play. But to shake that off, give him credit for that alone.
It's Hernandez who comes out at center. So Julian Hernandez comes out. 2:04 left. Colorado State has 2 timeouts. This is 2nd down and 3. Ken Seals in the shotgun. And Davis takes it to the 21. When do you start using timeouts if you're Colorado State?
Well, I think you got to do it sometime within the next couple of, snaps, because right now Joey Lynch has made a commitment to potentially go with the field goal, and Ramon Davis is getting into a rhythm running the ball. As a matter of fact, Hernandez with a good block. And now we're down to 1:40 remaining, and you got 2 timeouts if you're Colorado State. You're trying to preserve those if you can get the ball back.
There's Bulovas, the kicker, a 53-yarder.
I guess with him, we know what time it is, right?
Yeah. And he came from Alabama, so he has some experience kicking in big ball games. Davis straight ahead on 1st down, and now Colorado State is going to call a timeout.
And I don't have too much of a problem with that, because remember, you already know that was 1st down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could have called a timeout back then. It's still going to be 1st down. And you're still going to have to, you're really giving them more of an opportunity to run the clock down more. So
1 timeout left for Steve Adazio. You are trying to leave some time up on the board to get the football back if Vanderbilt were to kick a field goal, or even if they were to score a touchdown.
Yeah, well, I think if you're Vanderbilt, you're trying to get the ball more centered. If you're going to just play for the field goal, you want to get it more centered and get it off of this left hash. And sometimes you'll see teams try to at least have a run in that direction, because if I'm them, I'm trying to score. I'm not going to put it on a losing streak of this magnitude, 11 games, on a kicker's foot. I think you try to score if you're Vanderbilt.
Second down, Griffin. He's stuffed. This is going to be 3rd down and long, and another timeout at 1:09. Well, that's a long losing streak to begin with, but the last road win, you got to go all the way back to 2018 when Vandy went to Arkansas and won there.
There's Keyshawn Bond, and this is a huge run for him now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a 3rd-round pick and part of that Super Bowl champion team. There's Vaughn again. They've had a tough time replacing him. You lose a guy like him, you start losing games.
Ironically, you know who also went to Arkansas and won in 2018? Colorado State. Mike Bobo took him in there and got a win. So these are the numbers here. 2019 won a game, defeated Missouri.
I guess
last time they won a road game.
I think you take a shot here, I think is the question. Are they just going to run it again and we're going to play for the field goal?
Let's see, 3rd down and 8. Now, I don't think they'd throw it, because if they throw an incompletion, it stops the clock. Griffin straight ahead. He centers it, and that is that. Devin Phillips made the stop. You see the play clock starts, so there's going to be a little bit of time left. And Vanderbilt's got a couple timeouts, so they can let it run and then call the timeout. And just to be correct, that win for Colorado State over Arkansas was here, but it was still a significant win because it's an SEC team.
Yeah, no question about it. And there's a lot more pressure on this kick than it was the 53-yarder against East Tennessee State a week ago. I think everybody understands that.
Well, this ball is dead center on the 20. This is going to be about a 37-yarder.
Second charge timeout of the half.
And so there's the timeout. Steve Addazio hopeful that his special teams can come up with a big play here.
Well, remember in 2020, Coach Addazio said that the special teams were more of an afterthought until he came here.
It was a disaster last year.
I think now this is something that they take a lot of pride in from a special teams perspective. And this is where Manny Jones comes into play, number 33. He's a slippery guy, and he's the type of guy that you would look for. They're gonna use an overload right concept, which they're gonna have bring most of the pressure from his left side over here.
38 yards. It is good. It just snuck in the upright. I mean, just snuck in. And Vanderbilt, with 19 seconds, has the lead. Look how close this was.
I started drifting on him late, but he got it inside, just inside, and that leg strength. During the warm-up for the second half, we're talking about Caden Camper. He was perfect from 38 yards in, but only 50% at 45 yards or more. We had some questions about his confidence. As you see, a great moment for Vanderbilt, but moving forward to Camper, you got to get him in range. But even if you do, can he ice one down here to tie this game?
Well, you know, look, you had to burn all your timeouts. So first things first, you got to return the kick, and then you got to take a shot and try to get yourself in position. Camper does have a big leg, but you only got 19 seconds.
You need a good kick from Pearson Cook right here.
That's a good kick. Doesn't take any time off. All right. You've lost your best deep threat. Dante Wright left early with a leg injury. Centeo does have a pretty strong arm. Where do you take a shot? Do you try to get a chunk, stop the clock with the first down?
Well, I like the fact that he throws very good corner routes, which means those are routes that break towards the sidelines and up the field. They're going to come out right here with 3 wide receivers to one side. You could also possibly see a big over route from potentially McBride, who's lined up as a tight end on the other side. But a big out-breaking route to his right.
See if they get pressure on him. Centeo loads up, fires. McBride wasn't looking, and the ball nearly hit him.
Yeah.
That's incomplete, and it cost him 5 seconds.
Again, we're going to have to, Centeo, it's probably the big thing for him, the Temple transfer. It's about being just a little bit more efficient in the pocket. He certainly has impressed throwing on the move. They might move the pocket again here.
Centeo gets outside, surveys, throws, caught, foot down, out of bounds. Nice catch there by E.J. Scott, but there's only 7 seconds left.
So what you're going to have to do again is something similar, and I think you're going to have to flood a side, but it's going to have to be probably to the left, as we saw the touchdown to McBride, because you just don't have enough room over here to the short side of the field to run a similar concept. So you're probably going to have to go to his weakest side, to his left.
Not enough room and not enough time, quite honestly. 7 seconds. I don't know that you can get a 15 or a 20-yard chunk and get out of bounds here. Centeo, 3-man rush in the pocket, fires it. It's a little lateral to McCullough, and they'll keep it alive. That looks like a forward pass, and flags go down. This play's coming back, and that ball's out of bounds, and Vanderbilt has won this football game. How about that? The losing streak is over.
Offense. By rule, it's lost or down. The game is over.
Clark Lee's team fell in a big hole to start. Last week they wilted. This week they climb out of the hole. They take the lead. After it's tied, they march down the field and hit a clutch field goal. And Vanderbilt is now 1-1. And Colorado State falls to 0-2. This is a stepping stone for the Commodores.
And it's a stepping stone in the right direction. I mean, you look at, it all started with Candace Lee was named the athletic director here at Vanderbilt, and the first female athletic director at Vanderbilt. And really, man, you think about what she's done. She made some tough decisions. She got rid of Derek Mason. She brought Clark Lee in because she wanted to set an identity for the program in terms of how you build. And we heard from Lee all week about just understanding that they had to find an identity. A top 15 university in one of the better cities in America, and a game-winning field goal helps start that identity or establish it moving forward.
They did not fall apart. They could have been down 28-0, quite honestly, in the first half. Colorado State had some opportunities where they didn't get points. And Vanderbilt comes west at altitude and outlasts Colorado State. Our old Trapper, player of the game. How about Ken Seals tonight?
He was tough. He's from Texas, and you know, the former 3-star recruit. He played like a 5-star in the second half. And you see the toughness on the indicative on the quarterback sneak, but he took a lot of hits. He stayed the course. And one of the things the coaches have talked about is his leadership. And tonight we saw a good portion of that leadership.
26 of 41, 236, 2 touchdowns. And Jenny Dell is down with Clark Lee. Jenny?
Yeah, Coach, I mean, that was an exciting one right there. It was like a tale of two halves. They got away from you a little bit in the fourth, but overall, when did you see that momentum shift, and what caused that?
Yeah, early we forced it was, you know, wasn't the prettiest momentum shift, but we forced a field goal that was missed early, and I felt like that was the first time for this team that we've battled through adversity and gotten our cleats back in the ground, and the sideline was just different tonight. And so obviously proud of the way we came out in the second half, and there's a lot of improvement ahead of us too.
How about that defense? How good was it to see them pull it together, especially in that second half?
Yeah, I mean, after the first drive, you know, it was they were able to move it down in chunks and score pretty quickly, and even in the first half, I think they had like something like 250 yards. But it's a character win, right? They went out and they out-toughed them, and they kept the game alive as our offense was sputtering out there and trying to find a rhythm. You know, just proud of those guys.
Coach, you said you want to insulate the program from outside opinion. You just broke up a pretty long losing streak. What do you want people to know about Vandy football right now?
We're 1-1. You know, we're not responsible for whatever was before. We're 1-1. We got a lot to learn from this game. I'm proud of these guys. They've earned it, but there's more ahead of us, and we want to keep getting better.
Congratulations on a great one, Coach.
Thanks, Jenny.
All right, Jenny, thank you. Nice job tonight. Well, what a ride it was for Clark Lee and Vandy, down early, and there's a nice moment, right? A feel-good moment. It's going to be a nice flight back to Nashville, that's for sure.
You know, they're one of only 3 duos that are alumni from the school in terms of athletic director and head coach. There's only 3, and that's one of the reasons why that embrace was so real.
Candace Story Lee.
Yes.
The athletic director.
Oklahoma State is another.
Nice win here for Vanderbilt. Late field goal for Corey Chavis, Jenny Dell, our CBS crew, producer Scott Brandwine, Chris Glass, our director. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Back to New York for Inside College Football.